Hi there. Did you get a good night's sleep last night? Did you sleep real sound, or did you have trouble tossing and turning in the middle of the night? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today is sleep and how to get a good night's sleep. I slept real good for an 80-year-old lady that gets up and down 80, more than 80. And so what keeps you awake at night? What's going on? Are there things going on that you're worrying about, in the night, and you wake up and you toss and turn and you think about them? Well, that's the burden that we're going to be talking about today. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that and the solutions for it. I want to ask you right quick, because we've all been there. We've all had those sleepless nights. Believe me, I've had those sleepless nights. And we start worrying, well, this thing that we're dreading, what if it does happen? What if it happens? What will we do? And where will we go? And then we wonder, well, how will we survive it? Will we have to be living under a bridge? What's going to happen to us? And we think of all these terrible, terrible things that probably are never going to happen. But they go through our mind, we think about them. We think, well, how long will it last? Will it just be a short time and then we'll get through that rough spot? We think, what will people think? What will they be thinking about our children and about us? That they'll see this great downfall of our circumstances have changed drastically, and people will know. They'll know there's something that's happened. And I've always, in my past earlier life, I worried a lot about what people thought, and now I worry more about what they think of my Lord by what I do than what they think of me, which is a great relief. It helps you get over that part of life anyway. So, and then we start wondering, well, is there any way out? Is there a way of escape that we won't have to go through this? Is there just any way that we could avoid this tragedy that we see coming like a freight train at us? So we start thinking, well, who could we ask for help? Even who could we ask for counseling for what to do? Because we can't even figure out. We just don't even know what to do. So we all have to face these times, and a lot of times it's the problem. In my case, and I think most all of us's case, probably your case too, the problem is something that we didn't do or we did do, and we probably even knew we shouldn't or we should have. But now we're having to face the consequences. God forgives sin. He always will forgive sin. I mean, the most heinous crime that I hate to refer to the awful things in the news right now, but you know what I'm talking about. The most heinous crimes, those are all forgiven because when Jesus Christ died on the cross, he died for all the sins of the world that had been committed and that would be committed. So even those people who were in the throes of, I think, in the hands of the devil, even their sins can be forgiven. But my point is, I guess you wonder, my point is, even when we do these things that we shouldn't, even if God's going to forgive us, and he will, even then, we have to face the consequences. We have to deal with the natural things that have occurred out of that. So even if it's our own fault, we can still have forgiveness if we ask the Lord. And then sometimes we think, well, I just can't face it. I just cannot face it. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can. Life will go on. I promise you. Unless you're dying. Now, God says that there's for every man there's an appointment. He's made an appointment. It's appointed for man once to die, and after this, a judgment. So It's kind of like we don't know what it is, and we can't see it, but we do have an expiration date. There is a time. There is a time that we will just be not in this body anymore. So that's something to think about too. So we think, well, is there hope? Well, yes, friend, there is hope. There is hope. God, first we want to ask God to forgive us of our part, what we've done to cause this problem. Ask him to forgive us. Then ask him for help. Ask him to show us help and show us mercy. You know, when we ask for help from God, it's a sign of wisdom. It's a sign of trust. God wants us to trust him. He wants us to show wisdom. If this has been any help to you today, I hope it has. I hope it has. Just know that what you're going through, probably millions of people have gone through just the very same thing. And there is a hope. Our hope is in the Lord. But if it has helped you, please like and subscribe and share. And if you have a question, I'm going to read these verses for you. And if you would like, if you can't write them down fast enough, if you don't have a pencil right by hand, just in the comments, ask me to send those verses to you, and I'd be so happy to. But in Psalms 4:8, in the King James Version, says, I will both lay me down in peace and sleep, for thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety. In Proverbs 3:24, it says, when thou liest down, thou shalt not be afraid. Yea, thou shalt lie down, and thy sleep shall be sweet. And in Psalms 23:3, it says, he restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. And in Isaiah 26:3, it says, thou wilt keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on thee. I guess you can see that's one of my favorites. I quote that to myself when I'm having a little trouble with circumstances and situations, and they're keeping me up a little bit at night. He shall keep thee and me in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. I hope this has been a help. And please leave a comment if you have something to add, if you'd like to tell us the times that you've gone through, that the Lord helped you, because God is so good. And I love you so much, but he loves you more. Bye-bye.